Alrighty guys, as the game brings us another Dragon Ball Legends ToP guide video. So we are going to be covering Tournament of Power Season 5, but before we do that and talk about some of the teams that I have prepared for you guys, is we do have some balance changes to the game mode, and I don't necessarily think they're good. So we can go right here in the news section, and you can see that we have some changes that they've made. So now, prior to this update that we just got for the Turtles update and stuff like that, the 1/5 stages, the 2/5 stages, and the 3/5 stages, the enemy AI was at enemy level 5,000, right? That was their level, and then after the adjustment, they lowered it significantly. So the first 5 stages, you can see right here, it's going to go 3,000, 2/5 is going to be 4,000, and then 3/5 is going to be 4,500. That way, they made them a little bit easier, but this is why this is a bad thing. So you guys might think, like, sit here and think, like, that's not, you know, that actually might be a step in the right direction, but this is where this is the kicker, right? This is where they kind of screw you over. In previous videos, I've said I like to do 3/5 stages just in case I'm getting smacked, because you'll still get a decent amount of points. And so now they've lowered that. So you can see right here in this little asterisk, it says, as a result of this adjustment, the battle scores earned in the S and Z leagues on 3/5 stages are now lower than before, meaning that it's going to be a lot more difficult to actually go ahead and go through with these lower 5th stages, and it's going to be better to push for the more difficult stages. So I think that I don't like that. You guys already know about the 5th win streak, right? Every 5th win grants you a massive win streak bonus, and so I would kind of just seg my way up there. I would go for a couple 3/5 stages, maybe a 4/5 stage here and there, and then I would go for the hardest difficulty stage for the 5th win. Now I'm going to feel pressured that I'm not going to be able to go ahead and just continue doing my 3/5 stages. I don't know. We're going to have to go ahead and experiment with this. I think this is something that you guys should definitely know, right? So let's go ahead and cut to the next segment where we talk about some of the new ToP units. Alright, so the first unit I want to go ahead and talk about for ToP is this Gohan, this LF Revival Gohan. A lot of you guys might not have him, but if you do, you should seriously consider using him on your ToP teams. Granted that you can protect him, right? I think that's the most important part. As long as you can protect him, you guys should be fine in theory, because this is what he is your healer. This is finally what we've been needed for the Sagas from the movies, for Hybrid Saiyans, and even for Sun Family, that you can even use them, right? So at the start of the 3rd turn, allied episode Sagas, Sun Family, and Hybrid Saiyan, he restores health by 1%, he gives 30% to special move gauge, and he gives a 15% damage inflicted for 2 turns. That's absolutely massive. He's definitely like one of the best support units in the game, or in the ToP game mode is what I should say, right? So even though he is a melee type, he acts as this like ultimate, like end all, like a support unit. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, he does so much stuff. He's almost on par with the Angel Vegeta, although Angel Vegeta gives a little bit more to health restoration, but this is a very, very good unit for this game mode. The next unit is definitely going to have to be this Boujack right here. This Boujack is absolutely cracked out of his mind. At the start of the 2nd turn, he does get a guaranteed blue card, and he also upgrades that blue card to what I presume is going to be his Awakened Arts card, right? I'm not too sure. I haven't actually jumped into the ToP game mode itself just yet, so I have to actually go ahead and confirm this, but that's what it's making it seem like, right? And then it says right here, on Awakened Arts hits, he also restores his own health by 5%. So you're getting a guaranteed blue card, you're also going to get a guaranteed heal, and you're going to get a 60% to damage inflicted, 40% to key recovery, all that good stuff. And he also buffs allies. So you can see right here, he's buffing the top column, and he's going to be able to go ahead and give them a 15% to damage inflicted for 3 turns. That's absolutely massive. The one thing that you guys do have to keep in mind, though, is just like in PvP, his Awakened Arts card cannot kill. It says right here, the damage from this attack cannot cause the enemy to be defeated. Nonetheless, still an extremely good unit. He's almost reminiscent of the purple Boujack for this game mode. And then lastly, we have this new Princess Trunks. I don't think this guy's anything too special, but his Z ability unknown warrants him a spot on Sagas from the movies, especially if you're going to be running that Revival Gohan, right? So he gets 30% to Sagas and Hybrid Saiyan, plus another 15% if there are both of those tags included, right? 15% to base strike attack, that is. But as for his unique abilities, not too much. He gets a damage cut, so minus 20% to damage received for 1 turn. Only 1 turn, which is a little bit unfortunate. I wish it was every turn. That would have been a lot better. But he does have a very interesting gimmick right here that once he does fall below 75% HP, he's going to be able to restore his health by 5%. So he does have a little bit of damage cut. He does have a little bit of sustain. Either way, if you have him at high stars, he's going to be a safe option for you. When it comes to the EX units, this is where it's a little bit tricky, because when it comes to the EX units, I think this is the only noteworthy one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the other EX units just they seem very, very poor in design for ToP. I wouldn't recommend bringing them into ToP. As it is, I don't really expect you guys to have these guys at high stars at all. But this Gokua, he has a good ability, right? A Z ability at the very least. It's 14% to Sagas base health. And so I think that's very important. But as for abilities, most of these extreme units, they only have 1 unique ability. I think the Zenkai extreme units have 2. I'm not too sure, but for this, he has a buff against hybrid, so I guess that can be good if you're seeing a lot of hybrid fights and stuff like that. He does have a damage cut for 2 turns, and then at the start of the 2nd turn, he does transform. See, right here, this is where I'm a little bit compelled, where I feel a little bit cheated, because I feel like the transformation should also warrant a heal, right? Because in PvP, he does heal once he does transform. But it's okay. It do be like that. He's an extreme unit. I didn't expect him to be absolutely busted in ToP. But he also, something very, very important to note is that he gets a 40% to special move gauge. So you can expect that every other fight, maybe that you're going to be able to pop off a blue card with this unit, right? So I think that's pretty good overall. I would definitely tread carefully if you're considering running this unit on your movies team. I'm going to actually do it and experiment with him, and I'll let you know how it goes. And that being said, let's go ahead and move on to my top 5 teams for this season of ToP. Alright, so that being said, for this season of ToP, I'm actually going to be running movies. And, you know, usually I kind of just play it safe, and I kind of just stick to my androids team or a regeneration team. But for this one, I feel like I want to go ahead and experiment a little bit. We might risk getting kicked out of the Z League and stuff like that, but I'm 100% okay with that just for the sake of testing this team out right here, right? So you can see my strategy for this is basically I'm going to be running that Gohan as my healer. I'm going to use both of the Boujacks because they're going to be doing tons of damage, especially if they're guaranteed blues. They both are able to heal, and this Boujack right here, he even has an ability for support. I think that's very important to know. So this is the strat, right? So he does, you can see right here, and the 3 blocks ahead of him, right? In the column ahead of him, he's able to go ahead and give a damage buff, right? So at the start of the battle, it affects multi-targets, 20% to his own damage, and he also gives 15% to damage inflicted by allies in range. So not bad at all. So that's kind of like why I have him in that position right there. I do have the Great Saiyan Man 1 and 2 kind of just as there as a buffer. I don't think these guys are absolutely cracked out or anything like that, but they have a good amount of damage cut, and I do want them specifically for this ability, so they have an extra base, strike, and blast defense. I want them to be a little bit tanky, right? Because the rest of them, they have like attack, strike abilities and stuff like that. But I do have the double going on right here. The double defenses with both the red Great Saiyan Man 1 and 2 and the red Boujack. And then on the bench right here, you can see that I do have the Zenkai Broly, right? The Fury Broly right there, just in case I need to bring an extra red unit if there's tons of yellows and stuff like that. And then I have a blue unit just to cover all my bases in the form of Gokua. Gokua can easily be replaced though. If you have like LF Broly at high stars or any other movies unit just based generally at high stars, I think that's very important to know too. We can actually look at the tier list for these guys too. Alright, so I had this filtered by tier 1 units. So you can see that out of my 8 units right here, I have 6 of them are actually in tier 1. And then we can go into tier 2, and this is where Metal Cooler and the Fury Broly reside. So that's very, like, I feel like that's a pretty good balance right there, right? I'm not afraid to go ahead and dip into tier 2, and neither should you. And as for tier 3, as far as tier 3 goes for movies, I think some good options. If you have these 2 units Zenkai'd right here at fully Zenkai 7, maybe consider bringing these guys in. But for the most part, I think tier 3 is a little bit too far for me, especially I don't have them at fully Zenkai potential, right? So that's going to be it right here. On the left hand side of the screen though, you guys can see a different variation of this team right here, right? You can see a movie Saga team, and this guy, he basically, what he has lined up is he has both of the Boujacks as well. He has a really high starred Gokua. He has the new Turtle Zenkais that just came out. He has the Broly Zenkai for his blue. He has the red metal cooler for his red. He has the EX Boujack right there. I'm actually not too sure what the EX Boujack does, but maybe he actually is really, really good. And, you know, so a little bit of variation right here. I think movies from the saga has just become extremely versatile, but this Gohan is someone you're going to definitely want to invest in, especially, you know, just because of the fact that he heals. Let's go ahead and move on to the next team. Alright, for the next team that I do have on the list is, I think this one's pretty much a no-brainer right here, right? It's going to be the Hybrids Saiyans, right? Especially because of the fact that I just told you guys that Gohan, that purple Gohan, is going to be your designated healer. So I do have the screenshot once again on the left-hand side of the screen if you want to go ahead and copy it. I have it built right here on my main screen as well. Is the rank 1 player's hybrid setup right here. And so immediately off the bat, I do have this filtered by rank, or by tier 1 units. Goten is returning to tier 1 right here. This guy is one of the MVPs of the Hybrid Saiyans team, right? He has an incredible amount of support right here. He gets a guaranteed blue at the start of the second turn, as well as healing himself by 10%. So you have that sustain, you have the support, you have the guaranteed blue card, so you have damage. You have basically every single thing you could ever ask for with this unit right here. So you can see right here the player on the left hand side, what he's basically doing, he has his LF Gohan, the revival Gohan, on the sidelines, right? He has him as his backup. So what I basically see his strat is basically to bring him in when he needs to start healing, right? I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to go ahead and let him take too much damage very, very early on, and so that's why he's kind of opted for this setup right here. And you have this Trunks, who's very, very important for the team because he gives a full board heal, right, with the second unique, or is it with the first? So he does have a full board unique where at the end of the first turn for multi-targets, literally the entire board, he's going to be able to give a 15% to damage inflicted by Vegeta family, Super Saiyan, or Hybrid Saiyan for 2 turns. So that's something very important to know. You have really good options on here. Again, like I said, if you're going to be running that Revival Gohan, maybe the only thing that I would tweak to this is adding a little bit more red units. You have other red units in tier 1, like I already pointed out before, the Great Saiyan Man 1 and 2. You can go ahead and bring them on there and stuff like that. I feel like that's a pretty good option. You can even dip into tier 2 right here, right? You look at, so that's also something very important to know. This entire lineup right here, this is the reason why this guy is the rank 1 player, right? Every single one of these units is in tier 1 on this guy's team. All 8 units are in tier 1. But if you did want to go ahead and dip into tier 2, thankfully, you have a lot of really good red units here, especially including that FSK Zenkai Gohan. I think that's pretty much enough said. This team it's probably going to be the best in terms of giving you as much points as possible. For the next team I want to go ahead and talk about is going to be basically one of the most comfortable teams in ToP, one of the best teams in ToP, and I don't see that changing for a very, very long time. It's going to be Regeneration. So I have right here, once again on the left-hand side of the screen, the rank 60 player and his variation of the regen, his little spin on it, right? So I think the most important unit that you have on this team right here is going to be Super Baby 2. This is going to be your healer, and the general strat that you want to go ahead and have him is you want him in the middle somewhere. You want him in one of these middle columns, right? Because that's where he's going to be able to shine. That's where he's going to give a heal to the left and to the right of you with this ability right here, the Grudge Against Saiyans. He's going to be at the end of the turn, tag Regeneration or tag GT. You're going to restore health by 3%, as well as giving 30% to health restoration. That's literally at the end of every single turn. The only thing that's going to basically fizzle out is the health restoration, right? But for the most part, you're going to be getting that heal every single turn, which is absolutely massive. And then, of course, people that I always talk about is this Boujack. He gets a guaranteed blue card at the very beginning of the round. And then this Piccolo, he gets a guaranteed blue card, I believe, on the second or third turn. So yes, at the start of the third turn, you get 40% to next special move inflicted, as well as 100% to special move gauge. This team can be a little bit demanding, right? Especially for someone like me. I only have that LF Piccolo at 2 stars, so he might get melted quickly. You can see right here on his backup, I don't have the DKP Zenkai at all, so or neither do I have the Cell, right? So that's something that you have to definitely keep in mind. But for the most part, you have a good lineup right here, right? So 6 out of your 8 units are going to be on tier 1. We can filter this by tier 2 now, and then the rest of the units lie here. The one thing that I would like to mention is that if you guys are feeling a little bit uncomfortable with this lineup right here, this is a case and scenario in Regeneration where I would go ahead and say just dip into tier 3, replace your green 21 with this Fat Boo, because he's also going to be able to give a heal in that middle slot as well. I think that's the most comfortable and easiest way to go ahead and run regeneration, because he has basically the same ability as Baby to a lesser extent, where he's going to be able to heal to the left and to the right of you. I believe it is on the 3rd turn once only. But either way, still a very, very formidable team for this ToP. For ToP, the game mode, just in general, like as a whole. As long as you have a good mixture of tier 1 units sprinkled in, you'll do just fine in terms of making it to the top 6K. Alright, for the next team, it's going to be another one of those comfort teams, as you have androids right here. The only thing with this team, I feel like regeneration is definitely easier to build than this team. Although regeneration does have like the equal amount of Zenkais or even more, I feel like some of them you can easily replace out, right? And then some of them are free to play Zenkais, such as the Fat Boo. Whereas you have androids, and it's a lot more difficult to go ahead and have all of these Zenkais. So you can see right here, once again, I have the rank 13 player on the left-hand side. You can go ahead and copy his team as you wish. But we have this setup right here. It's very, very formidable. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I do not have the blue ToP 18, so I kind of have it replaced right here with the blue 21, which should definitely be fine, right? That blue 21 absolutely does a lot. If you guys don't know, we can go into her supportive capabilities right here. One of the best things that she has, in my opinion, is that for all allies in range, which is going to be the block in front of her, below her, to the left, and to the right, for all androids, she's going to give them 15% to special move gauge charge rate. So you're going to be firing off blue cards like crazy. It's absolutely insane how strong this ability is. And then on top of that, you're going to get a plus 30% to cave recovery for attack regeneration, just in case you are running some cells, right? So you do have like at least one cell on there. And then on top of that, you have the green 21 in there as well, right? And then for girls, specifically for girls, you also get a damage buff. So she really does a tons and tons of work in terms of support. And then I would say definitely the MVP of this would still have to be this Android 18, because she heals. Like, this is your healer. When you have a healer on your team, like, you have to go ahead and protect her with your life. It's this precise assist unique ability where at the end of the turn, every single turn, by the way, all allies in range, you can restore your health by 3%, as well as giving them 15% to damage inflicted. The beautiful thing about this is that you can form some weird teams with this Android 18. You notice that this ability is not limited to androids or girls. It's literally anyone. If you wanted to try to run an oddball team, maybe you're in B League looking to rank up or something like that, I would say go ahead and just slap her on one of your teams. As long as you're protecting her, she's going to be healing up your units. And basically, so the strat you want to go ahead and be running for this is you want to protect her at all costs, right? And so basically what I like to do, my main strat with androids, is I have it lined up where Android 16 is in either corner of the red Android 18, right? Because he has this ability where before receiving a blast arts, he is able to go ahead and perform a cover change, and while doing a 60% damage cut to that attack, to that specific attack, right? And when you put him in that corner, so you can see right here, he's right here, right? He's guaranteed to protect at red Android 18 only. This works in either corner, so you can put him like this. As long as you have him directly diagonal to that red Android 18, you're going to 100% be safe. What I like to do, instead of running this yellow Android 17, the MVP 17, is I do like to run this cell right here, right? And I'll put him right under the red 18 when she gets extremely low in health, because when the red 18 gets extremely low in health, this is where this guy comes and saves the day, because he has this ability where once before receiving a strike, blast, or special move arts attack, when health is 30% or lower for allies in range, he performs a cover change for them directly in front of him, right? So it's the block directly in front of him. He also has a good amount of sustain, especially because he's able to heal himself. So you're basically ensuring the survivability of that red 18. You're protecting her with everything that you have. You can do a similar thing with this green 21, right? So in case you don't want to run that red cell, she has a similar ability where she's able to go ahead and perform a cover rescue when basically the same thing as cell. That's basically it, right? So very, very good overall in terms of survivability. You can definitely protect you. There's so many ways to protect that red 18 and just push through the entire game mode as a whole. All right, for the last team I wanted to go ahead and show off is kind of like this oddball team. So once again, on the left-hand side, I have the rank 89 player right here, and he's using Saiyans. Generally, Saiyans is just going to do well regardless, as long as you do have that Angel Vegeta. That's something I always preach through and through. Just in case you guys don't know, I've said this like in almost every single guide, is that Angel Vegeta does heal up your allies, like the entire board, not even restrictive. You can place him anywhere on the board, and he'll heal every single one of your units. Let me go ahead and make sure. And it doesn't discriminate either. So at the start of the third turn, activate special action. So he cancels attribute downgrades and restores health by 3%, as well as giving a damage buff by 25%, which is extremely good, right? Extremely and utterly valuable to the entire Saiyans team. As long as this guy is going to be in the game, he's going to be absolutely meta, especially when it comes to ToP. But this guy, he has something weird. So as long as you have that Vegeta, you throw in some tier 1 units, you're going to be A-okay. But this guy, he has something kind of like weird going on right here, right? So he has a lot of support. I'm not gonna lie, he has a lot of support. He has a really weird setup, but look at, he's rank 89. He's doing something right. And so generally the strat, I wanted to go ahead and dissect this a little bit. The strat that he's using is he's basically pouring most of his resources into that Super Gogeta right there, right? The Super Gogeta, he gets a guaranteed blue card at the start of the third turn, and he also inflicts enemy with can attack for 1 turn too. So it's pretty nice. He has some disruptive abilities and stuff like that, right? So he gets 100% to his own special move gauge and plus 50% to his own special move to the next special move that he does activate. So that you already can imagine that's going to be hitting like a truck. And so you can see right here, this player has him right under Bardock. And so I was very curious about that, so I had to go ahead and take a look at Bardock. Is he buffs the block directly below him as well. So at the end of turn, if there's another tag Super Saiyan character in your team, ally tag Super Saiyan in range, you get 50% to crit rate for 1 turn, as well as 40% to crit damage for 1 turn. So he's basically trying his hardest to go ahead and buff up that Gogeta as much as possible. That's why he has him right under him, to possibly just nuke any unit that comes his way, right? At the third turn, he's just banking on the fact that he's going to be absolutely obliterated unit. Then we have this Raditz also. This Raditz actually has a pretty good ability. So the Zenkai extreme units are not half bad. I'm not even gonna lie. So this guy actually has 2 uniques, but this one's the most important. So at the start of the battle, the entire board gets a 30% blast damage for Saiyan, just for being Saiyan. As long as they're Saiyan, they're getting that 30% to blast damage. This guy, he's able to go ahead and get an ability right here that allows him to mitigate damage to some extent. Before receiving a strike art specifically, he's going to basically activate his instant transmission, prolonging the fight and stuff like that, and making sure he has his own self-sustenance. This guy, he kind of wasn't all that to me. When I was looking at his kit, he does transform. He gets a 50% to strike damage and stuff like that. And then, but I guess this is where it comes in clutch, right? So at the end of the second turn, he gets a guaranteed special move as well. So you're getting a lot of special moves. I'm not even gonna lie. So it's, I don't know if this is like his actual PvP kit where he hurts himself with that special move, but either way, having a guaranteed special move is always going to be absolutely clutch. Some of these older units in ToP shine way more than they do in PvP, right? And then you also have this Nappa right here, who again is kind of just bare bones a little bit. He just gets some damage buffs if there's Saiyans and stuff like that. He doesn't do anything absolutely crazy, but it's absolutely impressive how high this guy has gotten with such an odd team, right? I have never seen this team, but like I said, you don't have to be constricted to this team. If you want to run Saiyans, as long as you have that Angel Vegeta, you're going to be good to go. Just throw some high star units on there. You basically, what this guy has right here, he has a good amount of tier 1 units, right? He has 5 out of his 8 in tier 1, and then the last 3 I do believe are in tier 2. Yes, so the last 3 are in tier 2. So that's why he's ranked so high. He's in Z League, he's at rank 89. This team can absolutely work. If he can make this team work, you can make an average Saiyans team work. So that's pretty much it. That being said, we're going to go ahead and hop on out of here. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely let me know by leaving a like, a comment, or maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later!